Welcome to the Biz Easy podcast, where small business is simplified for greater results. Brought to you by Resources and Development. Go to www.resources-development.com for help in taking your business to the next level. And now, help me welcome the host of the Biz Easy podcast, Steve McCrillis.
Welcome to the Biz Easy podcast, coming to you live from the music capital of the world, Nashville, Tennessee. The Biz Easy podcast is where small business is simplified for greater results. My name is Steve, your host, and as we all learn how to stay better focused on the things that make you great. Today, we have a special treat, a guest who is not only a Nashville musician, but also an extraordinary website expert. Brian Bailey is the owner of NashvilleWebDesign.biz. That's NashvilleWebDesign.biz. Thanks for being with us today, Brian. And I think we may learn a thing or two from Brian today. So without further ado, Brian, tell us the consequences of settling for cheap and easy website.
Oh, wow. That's a big topic. I don't know that we have all the time in the world to cover that today, but we'll
take
try
all the time you need.
Yeah, we'll try to work that work a couple answers in and you're right. I hope somebody can learn something from it, and all with the goal of making it a whole lot easier and more efficient for yourself.
Excellent.
It's funny because do you really save money by doing something on the cheap? And we all, we're all cost conscious these days and trying to save some money. But in the website business, it's kind of funny because there are a lot of people that think, oh, it's a website, I can build that. I don't have to charge you very much for it if it's in the family, or if it's your neighbor's cousins, dogs owners, aunts, uncles that knows somebody down the road that has a cousin Louie that can build your website for you. It's something you might want to think about, because in the end, it's your reputation and it's your digital representation that's on the line. And maybe the answer is yes for the day that you make the purchase. Sure, maybe you save a couple bucks, but when the job isn't done well, it's the days thereafter that start piling up the losses. We're in the digital age, and having a strong online presence is critical for the success of any business. And a well-built website serves as so many elements of your business. I mean, first and foremost, it's your virtual storefront. It's your digital headquarters representing your business and your talent and your offering and your operations and your reputation. A well-designed website's built with the customer in mind, and not just my customer, but more so your customer. And it's my job to represent your brand and entice potential customers to engage with your products and services. But opting for a poorly built website can have some severe consequences and cost you more than just that initial investment. It has a lot weighing on it.
Hey Brian, before you get into the consequences, I wanted to ask a couple of quick questions.
Yeah.
First up, let's down to the basics. Why is a website so important in today's business? And what is the primary goal of a business website?
Oh, yeah. Well, it is your business. Your website can conduct your business for you. Just like the old days when you used to look up someone in the yellow pages, everyone now looks you up on Google. And if you're not there, your competition is. When somebody hears of your business, they go to your website to decide if they want to give you their money for your goods and services. Some primary goals, I mean, there are quite a few, but you want to, it's there to reinforce your branding. It's the provider of information for anyone that's coming to your site to research what you do or what you offer. it's in the ultimate experience, it's there to provide a clear path to conversion for those who are seeking your goods and services. That's where your conversion happens. And to help that, it's efficiency in operations and automations.
Okay.
And when cousin Louie builds your website on the cheap, just because he has an awesome TV repair kit and he can fix it, he may not know anything about any of those elements that are imperative to success.
Conversion probably being the number one thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the main loss. If you've built a site that doesn't serve your customer and doesn't get them where they need to be efficiently and quickly, or with the knowledge that they're seeking, they're going to click away, and they may click to your competitor. They may just click away from your website, and the ultimate goal is that lost conversion.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. But it's also, the reliability and the reputation of your business is now in the hands of someone that may not know or doesn't really care about the success of your website. If it's just a family or a friend that offered to help, do they really have a vested interest in your livelihood? And because
right.
they're gonna and sometimes just slap it together and then they're done. And yeah, you saved a couple bucks, but man, you might lose a whole lot more than that in the end.
It might be better not to have a website than to have a website that
That
ruins your brand,
website.
right?
Yeah,
right,
absolutely. Because then you're just professing how bad
you are. Right.
Because I mean, if cousin Louie's never built a website in his life, and now all of a sudden has all this great expertise to build yours, this is your livelihood on the line. And why would you do that?
I think to your point is, even if cousin Louie knows the mechanics of building a website, doesn't mean he understands your brand, the conversion methods that you want to use, or maybe your e-commerce, and what it is you need to say in order to get a customer to trust you, eh?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Or may not even know of all the capabilities to build in the site to support your business. Maybe they have a cool picture that they want to put up, but they don't realize the consistency needed, and the navigation, or the support services, or the list just goes on of
branding
has a value.
Branding colors even, right?
Exactly. And expertise has a value. And sometimes it's going to be more than the next door neighbor's freebie website. That, I don't know, man. It just depends on how important your business is to you, I guess.
Sure.
Why would you hand over your entire online representation just to cut corners? Instead, what you really cut is your throat sometimes.
So what I hear you saying is it's more about your brand, both protecting it and promoting it. Is that?
Oh, absolutely. That's only one element of it. There's so much work that your website does for you and your business, and yes, reinforcing your brand is just one of them. It paints an immediate picture, figurative and literally, for your customer, and and then it leads to that branding as its own element, then leads to, are you an amateur or are you a professional at what you do? And not talking about me as your webmaster, but you as your business. Which are you? Because now your branding is on the line, and your reputation, like we were saying before. But a badly built website also reflects just negatively on your professionalism. If your site's a poor user experience, it sends a message that your business is, just may not be up to par. Because if you can't deliver a viable website for your consumers to rely on, why would you think that they would trust you as a viable product or service?
Good point.
Because ultimately you're asking, it's a trade. You're asking them for their money for your service. And man, if your branding isn't up to par on the website, or your operations, or your messaging,
it's like Steve always says, first the customer needs to know about you, then they need to like you, then they need to trust you. And I would think that the website is supposed to take them on that journey, isn't it?
It's the digital version thereof.
Yeah.
That's exactly the job of the website, among many others. Because you're either going to consciously or subconsciously win that click and win that like. If you win the like, you win the click, you're likely to win the business. And if not, you just lost their business and all the long-term benefits of a new customer.
Right.
But hey, you saved a couple bucks up front with cousin Louie's gig.
Yeah, I'm always teaching about the lifetime value of a customer. It may take you $50 to acquire that customer, but over the lifetime of that customer, if you treat him right and so forth, he may have thousands of dollars worth of value to you.
Exactly. Comes back tenfold. Listen, if the representation of your business isn't important to you as the owner, your audience is going to conclude the exact same result. So would you rather pay more to win someone's click, or is it more valuable to spend
less money?
Yeah, and you lose those clicks instead. So your customers are seeking a professional online presence and a reliable spend of their time and money.
Sure.
And whether you know it or they know it or not, that's what we really want to click to. That next click is ensured because the click that came before that served my purpose. I was looking for information, or it got me further into the website. I got to experience some content that helps whatever that need is of that customer.
Steve, you had a question for him?
Well, I would think that the ease of navigation, being able to understand what your company immediately, where to click next, are part of the profession as well, right? I mean, I'm no computer whiz, but when I get into a website that seems to be convoluted, and I'm like, where am I going? Am I getting lost here? What's the story? That would have a pretty good impact. Does that sound right?
Oh, that's exactly right. And not only for humans, but also there's an electronic audience that's trying to navigate your website, which means Google. Google is always reviewing your website as well. But for the human audience, there are two types of visitors. You have the ones seeking information and researching what you do and who you are, that needs that navigation to find their way to the information they're looking for. And then there are the visitors that already know. So those are more your direct customers versus organic search in Google. But a great website serves both, because the clicks are going to get them to their destination. And it's imperative that as a website builder, we look ahead to try and understand what your customer is looking for and their conversion again, and the results, kind of separate into two different categories as well. Do you gain sales or do you lose sales? And when you decide your webmaster, you kind of already pick that result. Again, just a bad website can hinder your sales potential, and that's the ultimate disaster.
Well, I don't know if most people are like me, but I'm fairly impatient when it comes to surfing. And if
Oh
I'm not
yeah,
able to get the information that I want, I move on. Let's be
yeah.
honest, right? I
Attention,
don't know. You may be able to tell me if that's common or uncommon.
Oh, and it doesn't take much time for somebody to decide that. I mean, I'm the
attention
poster
spans are
child.
getting short. Attention spans are getting shorter and shorter, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, I'm the exact poster child of your statement. I can't stand a website that can't quickly and easily get me to where I'm trying to go. I'm the same, Steve. I
That
don't have the patience for it either.
that brings me to the topic of video. Everybody's saying that video is how to capture that without having people having to read through a website. But in my mind, and maybe it's just me, I'd rather have it textually so I can just skim through it and get to the parts I'm looking for, as opposed to watching a whole 5-minute video. What are
Yeah,
your
and
what are your thoughts?
the best result is kind of both.
Both.
Again, for human and electronic audience, video is an imperative source of engagement and time spent on site, and obviously, if it's done well, helpful information. And Google is watching that. Google is watching how much time people spend on your site, because
Mhm.
they want to deliver results that fortifies their reputation as well. That's why we go to Google, to find the best website for what we're looking for.
Mhm.
And it's all about content for a great website. Whether it's video, whether it's written copy, whether it's photos, pics get the clicks, whether it's graphics. But if you have a textual version as well, now you're also feeding Google a lot of keywords that helps rank. And like you said, as a human viewer, you can skim to the parts that matter to you. And it's funny, because sometimes people will read, sometimes people won't. And again, you want to cater to both of
To
those audiences.
both. Good point. Now,
Yeah.
can Google measure all that stuff even if you didn't use Google to get there?
Sure. Yeah. What happens is, once you launch your website, you report to the search engines that, hey, there's a website out there, and I'd like you to come crawl my website. So when somebody is searching for my products or services, when they put in those search terms, you have my website in your arsenal to deliver back to them. So once they know that you're online, they crawl it and what's called index your website for
But
whatever
but
searches might come
but they
thereafter.
can't if I went straight to NashvilleWebDesigns.biz and spent 15 minutes there, Google doesn't know that unless I came in through Google's search engine. Is that correct?
Um, I don't know the technical ramifications of how they source their views, but I do know that, even if you don't come from Google, that time spent on site is still being monitored by Google
Prob-
or Bing or whatever it may
The
be.
mothership.
Yeah, the
uh,
mothership. That's right.
Probably because you're using Chrome, they can track it that way, perhaps.
Sure, that might be a way that they do it. They, if I had to guess, they probably go in and they, I don't know, might drop a tracking pixel on a page, or in the header of your code of your website, and some magical button goes off that says, hey, okay, person A is on here, and they're looking around. Oh, they just clicked on that button, they just went to that page, they just watched that video, they've been there for this long and this is where they checked out. And
Gotcha.
and you know, and we can deliver some of those statistics as well. You know, we can see some of the pages that people will go through and click and you know what page they're exiting the most, or where they're spending
Gotcha.
the most time.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And
So if you're going to lose your privacy, you might as well do it to your advantage, I guess, right?
well, yeah, big brother is watching. It's very big brother-ish. But it's a machine that you know, just like any other tool, is it in good hands or bad hands? And in this case, it's actually good hands that it's helping deliver information
Rankings.
to people that are looking for it, you know.
Brian, it seems to me SEO would be important for companies that sell primarily on the web. Is it that important for brick and mortar companies as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Steve, you bring up a great point. You know, another thing about Cousin Louie, does he know SEO? Does the typical client know SEO? You know, SEO is imperative for any website. Yes, sir. And this could be a whole nother episode discussion. But SEO is an ongoing process because everything's always shifting and moving, and especially with Google.
Right.
A great website's not just built to set it and forget it. It's keeping up with the Joneses, and Google is one of those biggest Joneses living next door, because they're always changing their algorithms. You know, there's more sites coming online, and it's whether it's brick and mortar or whether it's e-com. You know, for example, brick and mortar, you want to focus on local SEO, so that when somebody says, you know, brick and mortar near me, your site has the optimization to deliver that result for the near me looks as well.
Got it.
And again, to the customer that's maybe not necessarily looking to make a purchase online, they're wanting to learn more about your clothing, your boutique clothing store, because they're looking for the personal experience to walk in the door and go shopping. Well, the SEO in your website helps deliver that kind of result when somebody's looking for, I don't know, a boutique shoe store near me. Yeah, it's all sorts of SEO go into that as well.
So how hands-on should the owner of the website be? Should editing, adding services, all those kinds of things be something that the business owner can do? Or should the web designer be brought in for those kinds of changes? I really don't know. I mean, if you recognize that there are things that have to be changed.
Well, let me ask you this. Would you conduct a surgery on yourself just because you have a scalpel?
Fair enough. Fair enough. I wouldn't change my own transmission either.
Exactly. You know, you might own a wrench and a screwdriver, but you want to dig into a transmission project. Well, you know, if that fails, you're stuck on the road, or
Gotcha.
you're stuck in gear or reverse and you can't get out of it. But you certainly can. You can dig in, you can go for it. You have the tools, but do you really know what to do with them? Because the results just might not turn out quite the way you'd hope.
Point taken. Yeah.
You know, and again, we're talking about the importance of your business. If it's not important, you don't really care about the results of your surgery. I don't know. I bet you do. And a website's not really that different. You know, it's kind of dramatic to talk about a surgery, but it's the same thing. It requires a lot of expertise rolled up into a complete destination on the internet. You know, I mean, obviously I'm a little biased, but hire a website professional to work on your website too.
You're entitled to be.
Well, thanks.
Okay.
You know, just because someone has access to a username and a password doesn't necessarily mean you should be crawling under the hood that you don't know anything about. And
Yeah.
and there used to be I think it was a muffler company that their slogan
Yes.
was, "You can pay me now or you can pay me later."
Maybe later.
And the backyard mechanic is the perfect example. You might think you know how to rebuild that motor, but
I
you
always
get
wanted to fix a transmission. Yeah.
yeah, right. You certainly can, but it's probably not advisable if you don't know what you're doing. And
Yeah.
but that's why you hire a team of professionals around you. You work on your profession and they work on theirs. So many people think, hey, I can operate a video game, so of course I can update my website.
Let me interject.
A great point. We talk about having a full scale of advisors, regardless of what industry you're in, because I hearken back to the sage words of Warren Buffett, who said, "If you're the smartest guy at the conference table, you're sitting with the wrong people."
That's right. That's
Let
right.
let me interject here too, that one of the biggest complaints I hear is I got my website done. I need some changes and I can't find my web guy. So I think some real due diligence at the beginning of, who is this guy? Has he been doing websites for a long time? How is he? How difficult is he to get a hold of? That sort of thing is probably really important as well when picking a web designer.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I do get a lot of business from people that, they're looking for a mechanic to work on their car, which is their website. And in a lot of cases, your webmaster, to go back in and fix somebody else's creation and what they've built, you
I
don't
get
know
it.
you don't know what they have under the layers. And when you do the wrong thing, the ripple effect can be pretty disastrous. And I build cars. I build digital cars.
Yeah,
I
there
build
you go.
digital
Great.
structures, and I know how the walls are built, and I know what the furniture is in them, and I know what the roof that I put on top of it is. And you probably don't. So I would
I
say,
I get it. When
go ahead.
I do spreadsheets, I hate taking somebody else's spreadsheet and modifying it. I'd rather start from scratch and do it myself. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It just goes layers and layers and layers and layers and layers deep. That you're right, because you're going to spend hours and hours on that. You're going to click on the wrong cell. You're going to enter the wrong data, and it's going to wipe the whole thing out. And you should have
Right.
just started over in the first place.
I'm with you.
Great information, Brian. I really appreciate that. Hey, why don't you wrap things up first? We're running a little short on time.
Okay.
What can you tell our listeners in conclusion?
Well, I guess it all just comes down to the fact that, we all want to save money. And we need to, especially in this day and age of government inflation crushing us all, but buyer beware. And not just with websites, it's with anything. Are we really saving money by trying to cut corners? Obviously it's tempting to opt for the cheap, but cheap and value are two completely different things. Higher value might have a higher price tag, but it also has more benefits than damages. And Cousin Louie's website, the long-term costs can far outweigh the initial savings. So
Sure.
instead of making more mistakes, be smart, be wise, and rely on experts and trust in their value. And it's an investment. It's you plan for the bigger picture of benefits opposed to the short-sighted mistakes, and it pays off in the end. And it's people like you that have all of your expertise in building business and making it easier and making it more efficient. And God love him, Cousin Louie might grill up a mean steak at the family reunion, but want to hire a professional webmaster to successfully do your digital endeavors online.
There you go. Brian, thank you so much for that. Brian can be reached at www.nashvillewebdesign.biz. Also, email him at info@nashvillewebdesign.biz. Excellent. Again, thanks for joining us. Skip, anything?
I think I want to thank Brian for joining us today. Been really informative, and I'd love to have you back to talk more about SEO and meta tags and how maybe driving traffic to your website. If you're be interested in doing that, we'd love to have you.
I'd second
Absolutely.
the motion.
The topics that go into a website, we can load up your calendar anytime you'd like to.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
Brian. Thanks, Brian.
All right, gentlemen.
My
And
pleasure.
thanks for listening. And that is a wrap.
Our wrap.